to Souls on Tap. I'm Julianne Thon.
And I'm Jennifer Cross.
Today, we'd like to welcome Kimberly Loveridge, a fourth generation psychic medium and spiritual counselor with 12 years' experience working with spirit, tarot, oracle, and mediumship. Welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you so much for having me.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, we were excited about today. So getting right into it, tell us a little bit about the generations before you who also led a path of mediumship and psychic abilities. Is this something that you believe was passed down to you, or did you develop this on your own?
I would honestly say a little bit of both. I really began developing my gifts when my youngest daughter at 9 years old started seeing spirit. And I realized I had to really be more knowledgeable about all of this. And my mother she gets premonitions of when people pass to the exact vision of it. My mentor along my path was my aunt, who has been a psychic for 35 plus years.
Well,
Her grandmother also was a psychic. And then there's another great grandmother after that. So it's a long lineage. And while we can have these gifts, we don't always know what to do with them if we have not developed them. So, yes, you can use it in your everyday life. For example, when you meet someone and they're speaking with you, I know if you're telling me the truth. No matter what your face may say, I will know this. Or I'll see people in passing and I feel like I look at them and I think, I know you. I know all about you. I've never met you, but I know you.
wow.
So working on them and honing them, you really see the beauty of spirit and how wonderful spirit is and all the colors that they bring us, in a reading. It really fleshes out what, if you have a question about something or if you're seeking guidance. So it really fleshes out those answers when you develop them.
How did you choose to develop your natural abilities? What path did you take, or paths?
Well, I started going to the Edgar Casey Foundation at 14. So I've
Good
been,
old Edgar Casey.
oh,
Yay.
yes, 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 my friend. And I studied psychic development there, read books upon books, whatever they had in their library. So it is a lot of self-study as well. My mentor had me start with psychometry, and that's when you take a picture or object. I work with pictures better, and you'll have it in your hand, and it can be on the phone. And so you're holding your hand over it and concentrating on the image, and you just let spirit kind of color in what you're seeing.
Oh, wow. Fascinating.
It was it was very fascinating because she said, "We'll start with that," because I didn't know tarot cards, runes, nothing like that. And to my shock and surprise, it worked to a T. And so it was like literally an awakening. So I felt like my eyes were opened. And, it's at the same time, you realize it's a lot of responsibility real quick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as also the responsibility falls on us to ground and protect before we do this work. Because not to get off on a tangent, but the first phone reading I had was a mediumship reading. And about an hour before, I felt like I was feeling constricted in the throat area and almost like I had eaten something I was allergic to. Well, I have no allergies. And I almost went to the hospital because I just felt it closing. I had not grounded and protected because I didn't know any better. I get on the phone with the person, and the person they're wanting me to connect with actually, unfortunately, took their own life by hanging themselves. I learned a lot in the beginning of what to do, what not to do. Ethics plays a monumental role in all of this.
Yeah,
I remember
I can imagine.
one of the first sessions I did with introspective hypnosis. The gal was not hung, but she was burned at the stake. And one of the things I'll do with some of my clients is take her through an abreaction, have them separate yet still feel the death. And she couldn't breathe because of the smoke, and she was coughing, and so when you said that, that just came to mind. So although we receive these things for a different purpose and in a different way, it's still very intense for those of us who are healers. Yeah. So I just have to ask this because I've never really asked someone who is a medium of your caliber this before. So a lot of us suffer from time to time from imposter syndrome, especially in the beginning. For me personally, I was like, well, I had all these amazing things happen, but what if I was just making this up? Or what if these voices I'm hearing, I'm totally making up? Or what if I'm not authentic? What if I'm a fake? Did you ever go through that when you were trying to learn the process?
I did during my awakening, which, as we all know, an awakening, you feel like you're losing your mind essentially
Absolutely.
because you're really converting over the veil in a way. So I did get that in the very beginning, but I learned very quickly, and this is probably through Edgar Casey, to trust in spirit. And also, there's a factor of belief. If I don't believe this is something that works, it won't work.
Right. Right.
And it is important to surrender
Mhm.
to spirit. And that is very hard for someone that needs control.
Yes. Tell me about it. I'm a Scorpio, so boy, do I need control.
You and I both are Scorpios.
Are we?
And
See?
right. So to bow down to anything is kind of not our gig,
No.
right? But
Mhm.
in this, spirit is wanting us to be there. They want us to do a great job. They want us to connect. And just by having that unshakable faith system, that will curb any imposter syndrome,
Hmm.
as well as being humble about it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a given. You have to have humility and humbleness to do this kind of work, because
Mhm.
we know that we're not doing the healing. The
Yeah.
the client or the soul before us is healing themselves. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And that being said, you don't just, and I don't mean just, you don't just do mediumship and channeling, straightforward, like we're talking about, like most people do. You also do medical mediumship. Am I right?
I love medical mediumship.
Yes, it's
I,
so
I love it.
interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and how do you sense what's going on in somebody's body? And then are you able to give them something to do to help them through it?
That's a great question. Yes. So with medical mediumship, this is something like remote viewing that I kind of stumbled upon. And I do what I call a medical scan. So, for example, I want to do a medical scan on you. So I put you in my mind's eye on a white blackboard, um, or white back, right? And then what I'm doing is I'm starting at your crown chakra and I'm simply going down, looking at you like you're just, a human form, and going down. And when I see something light up or pulse, I know that there's something there. Other times I will go down and I don't know why, but I'm even able to see a scar. So
Mm.
I had one gentleman want me to do a medical mediumship on him, and I'm going down. I'm at the throat. We're looking good. All of a sudden, I see a scar across the chest, and I said, you know, that you must have had surgery or something happened. And he said, I can't believe you picked that up. It it what it shows itself is either a red pulse or it will show a dark area. So a lot of times I can tell if you have had breast work, if you have if there's a spot of iffiness in the chest area, I can see that. And depending on the severity of the size and the shade is how progressed it might be.
Mm.
Now, having said that, when you ask, what do I tell them to heal that? That is where I kind of step away because I am not a doctor legally. I don't diagnose.
Right.
I don't prescribe. I say, please go to your doctor.
Right.
Please get a checkup because I am not someone I can tell you if you're if you're mineral deficient in something, you know, or have too much in your system. But another example is going down. I've gotten into people's stomachs and just realized I'm just seeing bile in there. I'm saying you're never eating. What's going on?
Oh, gosh.
You can see that. You can see past surgeries. Um, and
Wow.
it has been so on point so far. And I'm very grateful for the gift because it just kind of came along with doing readings. Kind of like the remote viewing, it just kind of stepped in and stepped out. But it's been very helpful with people that are worried about their health. And but I will say again, from a legal standpoint, I have to be very careful
Right. Yeah.
about I do not diagnose,
Yeah.
but I will tell you what I see.
Do you also move the energies around with that? For example, let's just say um, something is being caused physically by something emotionally in their body.
Oh, well, that's different. Yes. Yes, because if someone um that's a little bit different in that when someone comes to me and they're saying, I'm just feeling off, I'm feeling this way, that way, my first question is, where do you feel this in your body?
Mhm.
Where is this hitting you? And then I will look through their chakras and see for the blockages and see what's going on from a psychological standpoint. So I don't so much do the healing with moving the energies, but I can tell you if it's something that is emotional affecting the body, yes, I can get into that all day long.
Okay.
So along those lines, to get really woo-woo, have you been able to identify any type of attachments or entities that are draining energy from an individual?
Honestly, I don't. I rarely see that. I would say 3 in 500. Um, what is more often though, and I hate to say this, but people say, I have a dark energy and my life is going terrible. And when I go and look at them, it's very obvious they are the dark energy because they are their worst enemy at times. And there's a big difference between really having that negativity around you and creating it for yourself. You know, and that again, that's from a psychology perspective, but it is rare that someone has a negative attachment. So rare. So rare. And if people ask me, are demons real? I've never encountered one. Are they? They could be. It's not something I can say with certainty, much like, aliens. I've never met one. So well, not that I know of, but
Well, as light workers, we have to really protect ourselves so that
yes.
we can help facilitate and support their healing, right? And in order to do that, we have to stay clear of negativity, or else we ourselves wouldn't have the wisdom or the strength, or energy rather, to, I think, see the client through. But, when I first started doing introspective hypnosis, I started with transpersonal hypnosis, and we really got into the whole Jungian ancestorship and symbolic sorts of things. So they didn't talk about attachments other than, in your case, like something that somebody would have actually put there as a metaphor. Then when I got into introspective hypnosis, that was a very different story. They started talking about absolute attachments. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see. The proof is in the pudding, right? So as part scientist, I went into it sort of with a more objectivity and thought, I wonder if I'll ever run across an attachment. And Jennifer and I do not lead people at all. We don't tell people or imply where they should go or what they should do or what they should think or how they should feel. We absolutely leave it up to their higher selves and their guides to impart that information to us. And we would do a body scan, and darned if people that didn't necessarily believe in attachments start explaining a feeling they have in their lower chest or their right rib or something, and they'll actually give a name. And so it's you just have to be open-minded and
Mhm.
remind ourselves over and over, this is not about you, this isn't about you, this is about their journey.
Correct. Very well said.
When you are going through all of these different modalities that you do, how do you like kind of navigate through that, pick and choose? Does somebody just come to you and say, okay, Kimberly, could you just please do a medical reading on me? But then do you also pick up all these other things that are going on because of all your different skill sets? And if so, do you bring them into the reading, or do you just say, no, you have to stay over here, even though I know what's going on, just compartmentalize this over here and just stick to what you're doing? Or do you try to incorporate everything into this one huge magical reading?
Well, with medical mediumship, I stick to that, just that.
Okay.
But when I'm doing a chakra balancing,
Mm-hmm.
that's when, if someone says they're feeling off, that's usually my first place to go. Let's start with the root chakra. Is it spinning? How much energy do we have there? What does this look like? Okay, maybe that's okay. Let's go to the sacral chakra. A little wobbly. Let's talk about that. Your sexual, your creativity, the beautiful, it's just creation and creativity. So we'll note that. And that's when I go more into the spiritual counseling.
Okay.
So that's when we discover what's really going on to make you feel that, your joie de vivre is gone. Why?
Right.
And then, I'll ask, like you said, we never lead. What's going on now? How is that different than maybe another time when this wasn't happening? And where
Yeah.
do you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And are you willing to do the work to get there yourself? So, but typically when I'm doing a reading, mediumship will come in, medical will come in and go out. But I just focus on that one thing at a time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you bring up a good point that I wanted to ask you. So from your perspective, Kimberly, what is the relationship that you see between spiritual energy and physical illness? And how often do you find that sort of underlying energetic pattern that actually show up in bodily symptoms?
A lot. A lot. The amount of people that are suffering from generalized anxiety is astounding, which also leads to depression. So that tells me something is not in alignment with your authentic self. You know, the way that you would like to be seen, the way you'd like to see yourself is here, and you're living over here and over here and over here. So that requires a discussion because very often the physical reacts. Like, for example, if you're very anxious, you'll notice your mouth gets dry, your hands get clammy. But when people start having insomnia, repeated nights of insomnia, there is something going on there. As well as people that have chronic fatigue syndrome, there's usually something going on there. You know, to wake up in the middle of the night, if you had normally slept okay, you know, before, it really speaks to your higher self is saying, please change something. Please, for all of us here,
Yeah,
please change something.
you're making our job so hard.
Yes, yes, and it doesn't need to be. So that's how I see that. It definitely, any misalignment will enter into the body. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, it'll also enter into your emotional state
Mhm.
too. So, I mean, if you have a diet of, um, you know, playing video games and watching, you know, pups and stuff like that on
Right.
TikTok, your emotional state is not going to be calm, compassionate. You're going to be in fight or flight.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's so
So
true.
that those right. So it's often a matter of introducing meditation, you know, or meditative walks and getting rid of the bad social media diet or whatever that
The
is.
bad juju.
The bad juju.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So beyond those excellent suggestions, are there any like daily rituals or practices that our listeners can start employing in their lives to have this kind of health going on, spiritual health?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you the first and biggest one is gratitude.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Boy, does the universe love gratitude.
Yeah.
So there are times I have learned to do something I call flip the script. Say I wake up and I'm tired and I'm looking around and there's clothes on the floor and I'm just like, why is my room so messy? Flip the script. I got up today. I don't have work for 4 hours. I can leisurely have my coffee, read my book. You know, say I get in my car and it starts raining. Flip the script. I have a car. Some people don't. You've got having a positive attitude. You train the brain to expect the best, right? That's what we're used to seeing. In the same way, a negative person will constantly,
Expect the worst.
you know, you'll say, I got a new job. And they're like, well, I bet that won't last long. You know,
Right.
they have trained their brain to
Yeah.
look for the possible potential problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Train the brain to go up here with gratitude.
Gratitude.
You know, Louise Hay is, I love Louise Hay because my grandmother used to love Louise Hay. And she, along with Edward Casey, were one of the first that I started, you know, listening to. I listened to her and I studied more Edgar Casey, I'm sorry. And one of the things that she said, and I never forgot this, she said, you should do a prayer of gratitude or a meditation of gratitude before you even get out of the bed in the morning. And she said, you know, you need to start thanking, being thankful for that bed and that beautiful mattress that you have, and for it keeping you safe and helping you through a wonderful sleep. And so to this day, because I have a good mattress, right? You have to, it kind of have to have a good mattress, but I do.
Yes.
And I thank every morning, I thank all the spirits and the bed gods for for my bed.
Yeah.
Dear Archangel Stearns and Foster. No, I do that too. I wake up and I did corporate world for a long time, and having to be up at, 5 or 6 a.m. and you
Yeah.
jump in the shower and you're go, 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 go.
Mhm.
I am so thankful every morning I wake up on my own and not to an alarm.
Yep.
That I am so
I
grateful
know.
for that.
Isn't
I
that
could
great?
cry. My
That's
kids are grown. I don't have to be at the bus stop.
I know. Yep, I've been there. It's true. And that said, be thankful for that, right?
I'm so thankful. So
Include
thankful.
that in your meditation. I can drink my coffee however long I want. I can have 2 cups this morning if I want. Thank you for that.
That's right.
That's pretty amazing. So I I hope this isn't an immature question, and I don't want it to sound sensational, but I know a lot of our viewers just want to know, what's one of the craziest readings you've ever done?
Oh, yes. I remember this. So, of course, no names or anything like that. So this gentleman pulls up that has been to me a couple times, and I can't quite figure him out because he he is very elusive about anything about him, always pays in cash. And anyway, he pulls up in his car and he comes to the door with this tray of burning candles with a skull candle in the middle. And I said, okay. And I let him in and I said, did you drive this 20
Oh,
minutes with that burning in your car? And he said, yes, I'm
oh
doing a
my
ritual.
God.
And I went, okay, let's just put that on the floor or something over there,
Away from the curtains, please.
away from the curtains. And I said, what is this for? And he said, it's a love ritual. And I've got to burn it till it all burns down. And I couldn't believe he drove all that way with candles burning in his car and brought it in my home. And right then I said, I just don't know if we're a good fit.
Right? Like,
A love
Like
ritual with a skull.
it was dark.
Yeah.
And
and
yeah,
ironically, it was about love, right?
I
Yeah.
don't I if
A little bit of a
what's love
juxtaposition there.
anyway?
Right. What's
I
love
don't
got to
know,
do
but it
with it?
was so well when I decided we weren't a good fit. I blocked him because the energy was so dark. I didn't want to get into explaining and anything like that. And I didn't think anything of it. And he calls me a month later from someone else's phone and yelled at me and
Oh
said,
no.
how dare you block me? Don't you ever block me again. And I said, okay. And then I never heard from him again.
Well, that's good.
Oh, I know.
You
I know.
know,
There's no way I
So,
would take that.
so
No,
do you still let people into your home? Or
I do.
do you do your, okay.
I do. And when I first started, I actually had an outside office. Well, that means furnishing my inside office and my outside office. It was expensive. It's so nice to be able to stay at home and have people come to you because while I'm waiting on people, I'm cleaning the house, of
Yeah.
course. And I used to think, oh, what if someone comes at 1 in the morning? What if I have a disgruntled person and they know where I live.
Yeah.
What if, what if, what if? My husband is lucky enough that he can work from home when he wants to. So if I have anyone here that I have never read before, um, he will be sure to be here. So I've never, knock on wood, never had a problem.
That's good. That's good to hear. Do you also work for the Edgar Casey Foundation too, don't you?
I do. I teach tarot there once every 3 months. And then I also do gallery mediumship readings there as well. My next one is October 30th, 6:30 to 8:30 at the Edgar Casey Foundation in Virginia Beach.
So that just means a group setting, gallery?
Correct. So I am basically in front. They have a stage, but I like to be closer. And so they're all sitting in the audience. Every medium works different. Some people will get the energy and describe the person, then find the person. I'm opposite. I go to the person and I'll tell them who's around them. And then we work from that. That's why I have to be on the ground. I can't be on a stage and it feels very grandiose and all that.
Yeah, it almost
And
creates an energetic separation.
that's how I felt as
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
I felt the same way. And if somebody was giving a speech or a lecture, I get it. But I need to get your energy and be within some 3 feet proximity or so of you,
Okay.
ideally. So, so I'm just going through, I think last time there was 20 people, which it holds up to 65. It was my first time there though. So next time it'll be more and more and more people. And you just kind of go from person to person and deliver the message or the validation. I'm an evidential medium.
Okay.
So I can describe the person, tell you all about them, pass on a message. Then we move to the next individual.
And do you do this remotely also or just in person?
Oh, and I can do it remotely. I need to see you though, a phone call.
Uh-huh.
I'm not feeling great about it. I it's not going to be as great as if I'm looking at you.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, and we know that the eyes are the windows to the soul also, right? So that's like hugely important. So I have a question. So there's no sense in sugarcoating it. The United States and the world, but let's focus on the United States right now, is going through a growing up period.
Right.
So there's obviously a huge political divide, and there's all kinds of crazy things going on right now that we see on a daily basis, and it's changing from hour to hour because the news, the corporate news media, make sure that they're reporting things on an hourly basis to get the ratings.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see? Are you seeing the effects of that in the people that have been coming to you, like over the last year or even since November, since the elections?
Absolutely. There seems to be a feeling of fear and oncoming
Yep.
doom.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying, I feel like something bad, something wicked this way comes. And I completely understand that thought process. That is very prevalent right now
Mm-hmm.
because what they're feeding us is this poison and we're lapping it up. But,
Yeah.
we all want to be informed,
Right.
but my thing is, I don't believe any of them 100%.
Right. Right.
It's a
I'm
grain of
with
salt
you.
here, grain of salt there.
Yeah.
So I have to see it, know it before if I'm going to die on that hill, I want to be completely knowledgeable about whatever's going on. And we simply can't be.
No,
Yeah.
no, because we're not privy to that information. It is a machine, and it's not necessarily finely oiled either. I mean, they both sides, they utilize fear as a tactic.
Right.
And
But dipping in and checking out what's going on is not the same as having the news going 24/7. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
people who do this,
yeah,
and then they're just like they're completely being eaten up by the fear mongers and just freaking out and living their life all the time in flight or fight and fear. And that's adding so exponentially to the problem that's being really
Perpe-
portrayed.
and
It's not even real.
perpetuated. It's being
Yeah.
perpetuated over and over and
Over and over and portrayed like made up, completely made up most of the time. And I mean, if an airplane crash happens, okay, it happens. And why it happened may be questionable, but okay, you take it, you know it happened, and then you have to let it go instead of going, oh my God, that's going to happen to me. And I know it is. And people get crazy. And these people are coming to people like you, Kimberly, because they're looking for an out.
Thank goodness they can come to you, because
Yeah.
this fear in a lot of these people that's being instilled there, that people are inviting in to their bodies,
Right.
it's real. It's
It's
real.
real.
And so
Yeah.
thank goodness they can go to you and say,
Yeah.
help.
Right. And back to faith and fear cannot coexist.
Right.
And we were not meant to be uh, fear-based people. Which is why I don't do organized religion. But not to get into religion, but I'm not going to have a fear-based life. I don't think that's what we're meant for
Mhm.
No.
at all. And as far as what's going on in the world, it's become very divisive. And my biggest thing is I love to find people in a room. I will go to the person that is least like me physically and maybe even from a standpoint, political view. I want to get to know them because I want to prove the point that you may be a far this way or that, and I might be the other this way or that, but we have commonalities. And if people dealt with each other on a one-on-one basis, we would find the commonalities instead of the, you know, dog pack mentality where it festers and it gets out of control. So all we can do is we can do what we can in our corner of the world. Imagine if everyone did that.
Right.
Yeah. What you do
Find
is
similarities.
really important. And um maintaining that neutrality that I know you do. And also ethical. Your ethical approach is so important. And unfortunately, nowadays, and Julianne and I discuss this quite often, unfortunately, there's so many unethical, I'm just going to say scammers
Mhm.
that have showed up in the alternative community. And to be able to vet them is very important. And people don't know how really because they're so, like we just discussed, freaked out and living in a fear-based existence. And so listening to people like you is going to make it easier for people to be able to say, oh my God, that other person, they're totally scamming me because they're trying to make me the leading and all the stuff that you're not doing. Yeah. So
I have a Dolores Cannon t-shirt, Kimberly. Jen, I think has seen it. And it says fear. It's put as if you were looking up a definition in a dictionary. That's how it's written out. And it says fear is for entertainment purposes only. And as simple
I love that.
as that may seem, it's 100% true.
yeah,
You know, and we have to remind ourselves of that. It's drama. It's all drama.
drama.
It is. And that brings back to what are we responsible for? We are only responsible for our words, deeds, and actions. And so learning to, master your emotions will lead you. I'm into Buddhism. I love the philosophy. And you have to step back from every situation you choose to involve yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
At a point. I was, I have been tested before with someone that was yelling in my face, and I don't even know what was going on, and I had done nothing to them, but I did not take the bait. And so that's being Stoicism, Buddhist, because I know that I've not done wrong. So sometimes it's, if we can master our emotions, and fear is one of them, and look at it from what's really happening here. What's the bottom line of why did this start? And why did this person feel it was okay to do this? And what are they looking for? Because hurt people,
Yeah.
which is why I can never get mad at most people because I understand them too well.
And
And yeah,
regarding that Zen Buddhist philosophy, I also subscribe to a lot of Zen and Nichiren Buddhism. And one of the most difficult things for me is to be an observer. Like you said, step back and just observe. And boy, I came from a family that was so charged, so energetically charged to make everything perfect. Everything had to be perfect. Your mind, your health, your presentation, you had to be intellectual and perfect. I had to work really hard at that. So if we can, as a species, look at the news and go, that's interesting that they took that spin. It's probably not even real, and then go to something else. But doom scrolling is going to make you I believe, so unhealthy.
Oh yeah.
yes.
It's going to shut down every chakra.
It makes you feel like you can't believe in people anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And they're taking a very, very isolated shots, sometimes out of context, to dislike a group of people or, something like that. And I am never giving anyone that much power, personally.
That's cute.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And to add insult to injury now, recently, and I say recently, like within the past couple of years, and it's getting worse and worse exponentially. They have AI creating
Mm-hmm.
pictures and videos that are absolutely contrived. And so many people don't know whether they're true or not. So now there's that, like, what's real? Questioning reality.
Talk about a mind bender. AI.
Right.
I can see where it can be very useful, but it is so dangerous.
Yeah.
Well,
And
So dangerous.
it's dangerous in the wrong hands. And we know that it's already in the wrong hands. But the good news is it's also in the right hands. So it's
Right.
always that dichotomy,
so the key is to give energy to the side that produces the light.
Right.
I heard,
Absolutely.
I had somebody channeled this. from a 1500 BC Sumerian. And he said this to me. He said, be careful as to how you choose where to put your energy and the type of energy you're putting on that thing. So if you look at a situation and it's Penny Henny or Henny Penny, whatever her name was, that the sky's falling, that's your reality. That will very quickly become your reality. So I try very hard, and boy, it's daily, sometimes hourly process. I'm still working on it. It's to go to the side where you see and feel the light. Like that's important, because I don't want to wring my hands. I don't want to live that way.
I agree with that. And that's, it's funny you brought that up, because I have a quote here from Edgar Casey. The mind is the builder. What is held in the act of your mental vision becomes a reality in the material existence. We are gradually built to that image, created within our own mental being. Basically saying that if you can dream it, it is.
It is.
Manifestation. So again, to speak to that, if I want to wake up and say, well, it's raining and I'm just, no, it's raining. I get to cozy up with a book today.
Right.
It's all what you create.
Right.
We design our own lives. And I cannot tell you how many people come to me with problems, and what they don't realize is their part in the problem, because they don't want to take accountability.
I see that all the time.
know?
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
And so you have to break that
and it's
down.
hard to, and it's, if you can't recognize what's going on, which is also common, that your part is, you have a part. And then when somebody reveals it to you, the big reveal, you're like, no, no way. No. So
Right.
taking responsibility is something that we're not really taught in this culture. Taking responsibility for our own, and stepping aside and letting somebody be able to be like, hey, I'm here to help you. You can listen if you want to. You don't have to. I'm not going to make you, but I'm here to help you. That's what I do.
And then
you think you came to me, so I'm going to lie to you and sugarcoat it? It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in fact, that reminds me of a client I had that, unfortunately, her marriage ended she chose that. And during the whole marriage, every time there was a problem, she would say, well, let's just get a divorce. And she kept feeding that. And so now here she finds herself so upset that she misses him so much. They're divorced a year now. And I had to tactfully tell her, you told him to divorce you, though. Didn't, if I'm hearing right what you said, what I heard was the taunting, and throwing the D word out, and you turned it into a reality.
And words are things.
Well, the universe is listening.
Right.
The universe listens. And if you are constantly saying, I hate my house, things are always falling apart, the universe says, oh, okay.
Yes.
That seems to
Yes,
be
it
the
does.
reality you want. So here you go.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. So getting back to Edgar Casey, there are going to be a few viewers that are not familiar with Edgar Casey. What can you say on a general basis about Edgar Casey and how he affected your abilities where you are today?
He was a very genteel man. He was also someone that he chose Virginia Beach because of its unlikeliness for natural disaster, which is pretty true. We never,
wow.
knock on wood, We never get hurricanes, massive floods, nothing.
Hmm.
Huh.
And he was actually a very religious man.
Yeah.
But he's also called the first and original psychic. And I loved how growing up in a Christian home, that normally the church would say, oh, if you're doing readings, that's evil, or you shouldn't read the Bible and all of that. Look, here was a very Christian man that only wanted to help people. In fact, he only did 2 readings a day because it was very draining. And he only took the payment that they could pay. Maybe it was a chicken, or here's, a barrel of apples, whatever. A very humble, dear, genteel man. And I think that humility stays with me, and the fact that you can work from a Christ consciousness and still do our spiritual work. So there's no division there,
Yeah,
if
he
that
was
makes
amazing.
sense.
He was very amazing, in that he was able to give remedies to people, to channel the actual remedies. And he worked with princes and queens and kings and all these presidents, like movie stars. He worked with an amazing group of people. And then, as you mentioned, the person down the road from him, that all they had was a chicken. He didn't care.
And
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 his talents were just incredible. And his remedies exist today, don't they?
absolutely. I just need this plugged in. Absolutely. They do exist today. And and I think that's one of the reasons I really like medical mediumship. I don't do the remedies that he does, but it's just so fascinating.
Yeah.
And yes, they are still in use, all of them today. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember, and I still to this day take this advice. In his literature, I read how to be careful of certain foods that will interact in a negative way in your body. And I was eating a lot of vegetables, and then I would eat fruit right afterwards. And I remember him saying, don't do that because of the citric acid and the other acidic sort of things that are happening there. And I'm like, oh, and that was strangely enough causing my sinus headaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Isn't
like,
that incredible?
wow. Wow. He was into essential oils too, wasn't he? Did I see?
Very much
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. And that's amazing stuff too. We just had an essential oil healer practitioner on last week, and that was fascinating.
Yes.
I'm totally on board with essential oils. Thank you, Edgar Casey,
Yeah.
I
and
am
and,
too.
and the people way before you. Let's be honest.
Right. Right. And
Right.
he had it. He also has a rose water that is amazing.
Yeah.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
kind of it's a healing. It's like if you want to cleanse your area, it smells amazing.
And he
And it's
has
not that
amazing,
expensive.
he was super into castor oils. And he's got,
Yes, it
like the
has.
black castor oil and the filtered castor oils, and he uses it in a lot of his recipes.
Absolutely. For inflammation, it is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, now that we hear we can't take Tylenol, we can't take this, stick to the Edgar Casey remedies if you can first.
And that's at the Heritage Store, right?
It is, yes, it is. They carry a lot of his products. They kind of work along his lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they
It's
have
interesting.
do they have Edgar Casey sponsored clinics or that type of thing nationwide, or do you have to just go to Virginia Beach?
Unfortunately, they don't. And funny you ask that because during this time when he was doing 2 readings a day and accepting whatever little payment he could get, his intention was to start a hospital here.
Oh,
But because he was so giving and worked from a heart-centered place, they didn't have the capital to create that, or that would be up and running today. So his work is beautiful. You know how when you run a spiritual business, you have to have a business brain, and then you have to have your spiritual brain. And I really wish that had come to fruition. I so do.
yeah.
And so when I mentioned clinic, I'm sorry I didn't clarify what I was asking. Other educational,
Oh, I see. Yes.
yeah, buildings throughout the United States where you can actually study, Casey, or does he have a store like what'd you call that?
The Heritage Store?
Heritage? Do they have things like that throughout the US?
They have the Edgar Casey Foundation is all over the US in various places. It's also called the Association for Research and Enlightenment. So if you see ARE, it's the same thing. But
Ah,
there are several uh when they do a yearly conference here in Virginia Beach at the original one, and people come from all over the different centers to merge here and kind of convene.
And the Heritage Store is an online store, so you can get anything that you want through
You I
their
believe you can get
website.
it online. Their store has been cut in half. I don't even know if they're going to be around much longer, but
Oh, really? Too
yeah,
that
bad.
makes me sad. Very
Yeah.
sad.
well, there's a long story to right when I started working there, that they were the first ones to give me a chance at reading professionally. And if I had not had that 6 years of paying my dues, that was everything. But unfortunately, 2 months before I got there, the owner had passed away, and he was the one that had the original vision. Well, then his wife decided to run it, and now I don't know what it is.
Yeah, she
Oh,
had a different vision. Yeah, I see that. I
Yeah,
see that happening from time to time.
it's sad.
yeah.
Um, so I can't believe it's been an hour. It seems like we've been talking for 15 minutes.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh, you're just such a wealth of information, and it's such
Thank
an
you.
interesting topic. Um, Jennifer always has a wonderful question to ask our guests at the end of our episode. So, Jen,
So before we close, could you leave our listeners with a guiding principle or spiritual insight about healthy, um, about health, about purpose, or about remembering their soul?
Well, my mantra is we all heal together. So when I say that, there might be things that I'm overcoming because I will need to help someone else down the line with exactly that problem. So when I'm healing you, I'm also healing myself. And we are so much more powerful than we think we are. And this comes into the gratitude and manifestation. If you tell yourself you are thankful and you are grateful, it literally your DNA is changing up. So attitude is everything. Compassion and empathy is everything. But I do believe that we heal together because, and this is even in the Bible, what I do to myself, I do to you, and vice versa. So it's important that we remember maybe one day you need the healing, maybe one day I need the healing, but we have to work together to do this because that's what we were meant to do.
I love that.
that's
Thank you,
beautiful.
Kimberly.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
That because I do believe, and I have had Chandler's validate this, that just as you said, when you're hurting yourself, you're hurting the other person. When you're hurting the other person, you're also hurting yourself.
Exactly.
Because everyone is you. Everyone is a facet of you. You've either been that person or you've
Yep.
experienced those experiences. There's no disconnect. We are all connected. So I love that you just said that. That's great.
Thank you. I absolutely believe that.
First of all, thank you so much for being here, Kimberly. I will put your website information in the description box so that people can go there. Is there anywhere else that you would like them to get in touch with you, or is that the best place?
My website would be the best place to start.
Okay. Okay, great. So thank you for tuning into Souls on Tap. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, please, 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 and hit that notification bell so you'll never miss a drop of wisdom. We would love for you to share any thoughts you have and add any type of healing modalities that you'd like for us to showcase. Because remember, we're here for you. Until next time, stay curious and stay connected, and we'll see you on Souls on Tap.
Bye.